Welcome to the All About Your Relationship reading with Chrysalis, Invictus Tarot. Today I have 3 piles and we're going to take a look at the masculine and feminine energies respectively in the relationship, and then maybe a little bit about what's going on in the shared space. So I've got the pre-Raphaelite cards to clarify, and I've already pre-selected the 3 piles. So if you want to make your timestamp selection, I will meet you at your reading. Okay, so if you chose pile number 1, this is your reading. Let's take a look at what's going on with the masculine first, and then we'll look at the feminine after. All right, so first we have the unicorn, good fortune and friendship. The masculine energy in this relationship is really a unique sort of person. They tend to have good luck, a nice Jupiter placement for them, so with the good fortune here, and they like to start their relationships. I'm getting like a Knight of Pentacles energy here. So they like to start their relationships sort of slowly, methodically, carefully, building from foundation up. So a lot of earth energy here, maybe an earth placement in your Venus sign. If you don't know your chart, that's okay. If you're interested, try AstroSeek or something like that so that you can see what your Venus placements are. But anyway, so we have the masculine here. No matter how passionate he feels, he is very methodical and sort of slow in his approach. And the minstrel, and a bit of a romantic. So this person is going to let you, if you are the feminine and you're wondering about the masculine, this person is going to let you know that they're into you through music or art in some way first. So they may be a little bit more reserved in how much they say, and it will be more about demonstrating things through, I heard the song, it made me think of you, or you should listen to this song, or you should watch this movie, or you should read this book. But they will let their intentions be known in this way first, perhaps because of this, long before they ever say anything to you. I'm also getting that this is a masculine that may have in the past had long hair. There's something to do with their hair. And hair is it's really receptive to energy. So that's why when you get a haircut, it feels like you're lighter. So there could be something here to do with them being quite psychic or intuitive. They're definitely like a magical person. I'm getting a poet or a musician. Someone that has sort of a bard vibe to them. They're romantic, but they're slow moving. So they try not to work on impulse when something really means something, or when something is really meaningful to them. Let's take a look at the tarot cards and see what other information we can get here. Okay, so we have the Chariot and the Knave of Swords. So this is a Page of Swords. These energies check out. I feel like the unicorn is a combination of these 2 cards, actually. So the masculine is someone who values a certain level of freedom, but I feel like tradition keeps them from being totally free. Like there's someone who values ideas and tradition as well as being an artsy person. So there may be some contradictions within their personality that are maybe sometimes difficult to understand. But that makes people fascinating, doesn't it? The combination of those sorts of things. So let's see how the masculine is in relation to the feminine. We have engagement ring, So the masculine definitely sees the feminine here in this situation as a long-term partner. That could be why the energy is slow moving. And there is also a period in this relationship where the masculine is deciding. So there may be a long deciding period, and then there, once the decision is made, there's a long period of building. So that's where, communication through songs or art comes in, and or a long period of friendship, which could be where the decision is made, right? Is in this space of like, do we stay friends or do we move on? This is something that may feel stuck for a long period of time because of these energies, because of the masculine. So let's see the masculine looking at the feminine right now. Okay. So I see this could be a no communication situation, or a situation where the masculine is doing more looking than he is talking, for sure. Again, there's this like vague communication or messages being sent through the subtle realms. So through like psychic messages, because there is this like magical quality to this person. You may be seeing them in your dreams or receiving messages and not really knowing whether it's from them or not wanting to like accept that, because that could feel kind of crazy. And what connects you? Okay, so at this time, I'm really feeling like all you have are pictures of each other, or all you have are memories. This is someone who may not be in your life at this time, someone from your past, someone who you connected with in the past or had a friendship with in the past. And yeah, with the sunglasses and with the camera, I'm really feeling like, and with the Page of Swords, this is someone who is like, and not necessarily in a creepy way, but someone who's like watching you on social media or watching you however they can. Maybe they drive by your house, or, if they're kind of like headed in that direction, they take a little bit of the long way if that's available to them, or they ask about you if you have mutual friends. So they're always trying to like be aware of what you're doing. And then what is going to shift the relationship or the outcome is this lightning card. So sudden change. This for me is like an epiphany. And I really feel like an epiphany is what drives the decision here. So there could be the masculine waits for this kind of epiphany or for this divine inspiration or this lightning bolt to strike them in order to move into action. So there could be that kind of like stuck energy in this relationship for a period of time until that happens. So let's take a look at what this epiphany might be. An Ace of Cups, a recognition of love or coming into self-love. I really feel like there's a situation where the masculine, and if you are the masculine and you're following along, this may bring you some insight into what you've been going through. But I'm going to continue to refer to you as if it's the feminine watching for to learn about you. So we have the Ace of Cups here, and the Ace of Cups is when you begin to fill your own cup, and once your cup is full, it overflows, and that is what is for everyone else. So you have to fill your own cup in order to serve others. And so I really feel like there's a situation where the masculine comes to recognize this lightning bolt situation is like, oh, I love myself, or oh, I take care of myself. I can see my value. I can see my worth. So there could have been a situation where the With all this distance that he's keeping, maybe the masculine did not feel very confident in himself or had some self-worth issues. And so this epiphany comes in some sort of recognition of the worth of self. Yeah, and with the Wheel of Fortune, again, this masculine is very tapped into the rhythm of like a sort of magical divine rhythm, and is bestowed a lot of gifts and has a lot of really fortunate turns of events in their life. So the Wheel of Fortune, we have here the 4 fixed signs. So Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, and Scorpio. And this is something that I feel, again, it's very similar. It's like the lightning card mixed with the tower. It's the waiting for this Wheel of Fortune to turn. There's an aspect of divine timing. So there is no outcome until this happens. And there is no real timeline on this, because it's not something that is being worked at in a linear progression. It's a wheel that's turning. What other questions do we have? So we see that more about what connects the masculine to the feminine. Yeah, so I see that there is this a consideration of the feminine as a lifelong partner. Okay, so they're connected by some sort of conflict. Or there's been some sort of conflict in their connection. It's tangled. It's confusing. There's an aspect of stubbornness here, and this is coming from the masculine energy with the swords. So part of it could be an issue to do with pride. Let's pull another card and see what it has to say. This one wants to come out. Okay, so the masculine walked away and did so with a heavy heart. This is walking away from something that's meaningful to you because of conflict. So maybe there was a fear that there was a lot of love or attraction, but there wasn't true compatibility, or that there would be too many conflicts, or that there would be some wounding. And so the masculine walked away from this connection. And that's why we have him watching the feminine from afar, like with the sunglasses and the camera, like she doesn't even know this is happening necessarily. Let's take a look at the feminine energies. So we'll put these off to the side, or maybe we'll layer them on top. Yeah, we'll layer them. The feminine, we have the Griffin, honor and good luck. What? The Griffin and the Unicorn, you're both mythical creatures. You're both sort of otherworldly and have a very the unicorn was good fortune and friendship, and this is honor and good luck. So I'm really feeling like, despite this conflict, the feminine and there's still an honoring of the masculine here, honoring that connection, honoring the spiritual, honoring the process of this Wheel of Fortune and the stars. So the feminine is hopeful. A long journey brings rewards. And this speaks to that slow moving energy of the minstrel that I saw there as well. And the fact that the chariot came out reversed. There's a mirroring that's happening here with the feminine and the masculine that is really quite interesting. A long journey brings rewards. What I'm getting for this as well is that the feminine has this like core of hope, and sort of it shoots out in all different directions, and she's not quite sure what's going to come back. So she may not know that the masculine is specifically the person that is going to be drawn in. If you know what I mean, like he could be the star, but there's other people that she may have deep connections with, especially with the level of magic and mythic energy that could speak to deep connections with a number of people. But there is this core of hope within her. Let's see what we have from the tarot. The Magician. The Magician and Strength. Wow, you guys are a really like powerhouse couple when you come together. Again, we have Leo energy here. Leo, Cancer, Aquarius. Leo is most represented, I think, in the energies for me. Yeah. Okay, so with the Magician and Strength, the feminine is a really truly powerful human being who has been through a lot of adversity, who has sort of dragged herself through the trenches in some ways, who has come to her lessons the hard way. With this Magician card, I'm really getting, like she's been stung and has rebuilt herself a number of times. And this has grown her personal power. So she's learned from the things that she's been through, and part of that is being is good luck, and part of it is maintaining this hopefulness. And with Strength, this is coming into the heart space and finding fortitude and inner strength, and the ability to tame the monsters that have stung her. Almost, it's like mastery over whatever has been her adversity. So this is a really strong feminine energy. And let's take a look at, so for the masculine, Hand of Cards. Interesting. This feminine really doesn't want to show the masculine how she's feeling because she's afraid. With the alchemy and the strength, I'm wondering if this masculine is sort of like part of a pattern, or looks like part of a pattern, or whatever it is that happened between them. We see that conflict. That's kind of made her keep her cards close to her chest. But then we also have the Ace of Swords. So there's some kind of clarity that doesn't exist here with this relationship. So it could be that she doesn't know whether to have closure, or she doesn't know. There's a lack of clarity on what this relationship is. and how she feels about that. So they're watching each other. The feminine and masculine are watching each other. Looking at your photos, missing you, nostalgia, make new memories. So this is definitely a relationship from the past where both parties are looking at each other. They're not really sure how the other feels. Actually, that's not true. I feel like the masculine doesn't know how he feels. The feminine doesn't know how he feels either because he doesn't know. And so they're just kind of watching each other. You're just kind of watching each other. What connects you is that you mirror each other. Wow, didn't I say that? So there are some shared wounds here. I feel like whatever the feminine has been through is something that is reflective of what the masculine has been through. And so that's how they can learn from each other because they both have this like mythical, magical quality to them. But perhaps the feminine has more hope than the masculine. And so she is the holder of hope and she is the sort of like the light that guides the relationship through the dark. And then for the outcome in the feminine energy, we have happiness, expansion, joy, playfulness, oneness, enjoying each other. So this is really, the feminine is ready for a good outcome to this. The masculine is still in this place of deciding almost. But let's take a look at, I want to look at more at the hand of cards, this energy here. Okay, the High Priestess. So there's an aspect of the feminine that knows deep down what's going on. This for me is like, I know what's going on, but I don't want to feel crazy. Or I don't have, it's not grounded. Yeah, so there's this this connection that feels timeless. There's a connection that feels eternal and deep, and that's where the hope comes in. But then there's these like fears because he's undecided. You see more about this outcome in the feminine energy. Yeah, so the shared fear is hurt, pain, heartbreak, leaving on bad terms. But then we have the Lovers. So despite the pain, the feminine is willing to choose this relationship. Despite the conflict, the feminine is willing to choose this relationship. How does she feel about the conflict and the masculine walking away? Okay, so she's a bit defensive about the masculine walking away. She is defensive, but she is open. So despite this this feeling of, it could also have been that the masculine walked away for someone else, or she perceived that the masculine walked away for someone else. And so that is, there is some defensiveness in the feminine, but she's also willing and open to, because she understands on a deep and intuitive level in a way that there are no words for, in a way that's like deep with meaning and feeling, that this is a strong, strong connection. So let's see if we can get some advice for, let's get some advice for each of them. Each of you, whether you are the masculine or the feminine. So let's start with the masculine. Advice for the masculine, please. New start and wisdom. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. Absolutely. And that's what we had here with the Ace of Cups. knowing oneself, and you can see the butterflies in the transformation. So masculine, know that there is a possibility of a new start in this relationship, that it's possible for the feminine to receive you despite this feeling of defensiveness. She is aware of the divine nature or the deep connection that exists between the two of you. And so, you know, whatever has come between you, whatever transpired between you, she has the strength and this wisdom and this personal power to now to bring to the relationship. And what's the advice for the feminine? Sacred lotus, enlightenment. No mud, no lotus. Yeah. So the things that you have been through have brought you closer here. So there could be something that the masculine has not closed out, something that he's still struggling with, that the feminine had to, in this time of separation, in this time of the masculine walking away, the feminine learned something to help this new start. So I watch daily readings, and one of the things that's been coming up, I watch daily readings, I pull cards daily, and one of the things that's been coming up, and from Gemstone Tarot, she talks about, you know, a woman that walks into a room and or comes back to a room, and the room hasn't changed, but she has. And so how the room is different and how it's shaped by her having changed. So advice for the shared space: intelligence and mental beauty. I really feel like this is what connects the two of you deep down, even though what's connecting you here in this reading is a lot of just watching each other from afar. But intelligence and mental beauty, it says, wisdom is the abstract of the past, but beauty is the promise of the future. Wow. So this is what brought you together, this intelligence and mental beauty. Maybe you met in school, maybe you share some ideologies, maybe you work together. But the wisdom is the abstract of the past, but beauty is the promise of the future. I'm going to leave it there because that's a great way to end. Thank you so much for joining. Leave a comment, give this video a like, and subscribe to my channel, and take care. All right, welcome to your reading, pile number 2. Let's take a look at what's going on with the masculine. We'll see kind of who he is in this relationship or in relation to the feminine, whatever information we can get, and we'll see what the connection is between the feminine and masculine. So if you missed my intro, feminine and masculine can refer to whoever it sounds like in your relationship, honestly. So, you know, if you're a woman and you're watching this and it sounds like you're the masculine energy, just take it. And I will use he and she for pronouns. But let's start the reading. Mystic Circle. Your abilities will be enhanced. So this is someone that really thrives in a relationship. Their best qualities come out when they are in a relationship. They're very mutable. They go with the flow. They like to have new and different experiences. And I'm seeing that this is a person who grows and changes a lot. A lot of Sagittarius energy in this card. Yeah, let's see what else we have. Medusa, jealousy leads to a downfall. So I'm getting Sagittarius energy with this. There could be a little bit of a, it's a feeling that love is finite. So feeling like if, you know, my partner has other friends, then that takes love away from me. There's a lot of wanting to spend a lot of time with the person that you're with and not really wanting to share them too much is what I'm getting here. So there could be a bit of possessiveness. Yeah, and usually that comes from a place of insecurity. So this is something that can definitely be worked on or this could be a quality that they were born with and they've already worked on, depending on, how evolved this masculine is or where he is on his journey. Let's take a look at the tarot cards. 10 of Swords. So this is someone who has been through a lot in their life. This is someone who may know addictions or mental health issues. Definitely with this here, perhaps nightmares or invasive thoughts. And because of that, but in combination with the Mystic Circle, I'm really getting that this person has come to the 10 of Swords because they have learned from those experiences. And so they learn and they grow from these experiences. But there's definitely a lot of pain, potentially trauma, in this person's life. And, with the dark Scorpio energy and this card, there could be addictions here. And keeping in mind, this would be something that you would know about this person. I don't think that this is something that would be secret. It's something that, yeah. And 2 of Cups. This is again, with this Mystic Circle, this is someone who thrives in a relationship. So on the shadow side of that, there could be codependency. And with codependency, the path is to find interdependency, right? There's nothing wrong with needing other people or wanting attention from other people, but knowing that those other people need to have lives of their own. And and so finding some sort of interdependence and independence within oneself. But that could be because of abandonment issues or they hold on to their partner really tightly. They don't want to lose them. So it's really important for this person to have a relationship in their life and to have a deep and meaningful relationship and to find safety and security in their partner. Because this may be something that they never had growing up, or they had inconsistent sort of attachment in their youth. So let's take a look at the relationship from the masculine energy. So we have Coffin. This relationship marks a new beginning for the masculine. With the Mystic Circle, there's been many turns of the wheel, but this is almost like not a new chapter, but a new book. Yeah. The masculine has liberated themselves from a certain cycle. So this could be, having been sober for a long period of time, or having come to a new place with their mental health, or whatever it is that has created all of this pain. They have a new and healthier relationship with that, and a newer and healthier relationship with themselves by extension. How the masculine feels about the feminine. I like you. So this is a blooming relationship. This is pretty explicit, but there's this crush. There's definitely crush energy. They feel brighter and lighter around the feminine. They are, it's almost like this new cycle, it's brought them into a more playful place. Maybe they took themselves really seriously, but in relation to the feminine, they feel that they can find more levity, that they feel like they can be lighter and they can be brighter in her presence. What connects you is preparing for union, learning, expansion, transcending obstacles. So the masculine really feels like he's found someone in the feminine who he can grow with. Being on this path of growth, not everyone grows at the same speed. Some people accelerate or ascend, faster than others, or or are more dedicated to ascension than others. And so in the feminine, the masculine has found someone that he can ascend with, that he can grow with, that he can cycle with. It's really how he's feeling. And the outcome is this relationship evolving to the next phase. So the masculine really feels this moving into something more serious, of going into a next phase of healing the inner child and growth. So there's some things that the masculine was not able to achieve on his own. And this can go for the feminine as well, that they're both representing that for each other. But we'll take a look at how she feels and her and those connective energies. So this is really where the masculine connects with the feminine, is through these cards and through these energies. I don't really feel like any of that needs clarification. It seems really explicit. So let's move on to see the feminine. We have the Harlequin. True feelings are masked. Okay, so the feminine is in a more protective place. This can be from deep hurts in the past, but there's something about her that is quite mysterious and inaccessible, and that can sometimes bring out. So in really deep partnerships and really deep connections, we can trigger each other, right? And so I feel like this mysterious aspect, or this unattainable aspect of the feminine, it's funny, I'm getting Sagittarius energy from, there's a lot of mutable energy here, but this is really coming in, both cards, Sagittarius for me. Where was I? Okay, so the feminine being, somewhat mysterious or unattainable in some way, or at least to the masculine, could lead to these feelings of insecurity or jealousy, because he doesn't really know where he stands with her. There's a lot of deep feeling on the board here. And so with the deep feeling and the deep water energy that's happening here, and the history of anxieties, or if there are abandonment issues, the feminine may trigger that. But she's only doing this out of self-protection. And this could be something that is needed, is worked through in this relationship. But we'll see what else we have. Serendipity. Bright and new prospects are on the horizon. So for the feminine, this is really a relationship of possibility. And this is something that, with all this butterfly energy, is transformational. And with that transformational energy, or bright new prospects, depending on her relationship with new beginnings and that sort of thing, that can lead to this self-protection. I also feel like there's just something very elusive about this feminine. I think that she is naturally elusive. With the moon and everything like that, I'm picking up on a very feminine energy that's just sort of nurtures, but does not, maybe because of all of that feminine energy, you're not really sure where the assertive energy is, and that can make someone very elusive. Someone who's very in the feminine, who's very high priestess, can be almost like water, like trying to hold water in your hands, sort of thing. But let's take a look at the tarot cards and see what they have to say. So we have the Seven of Wands. I'm going to put that over there. This feels like the defensive side, and this feels like the, just sort of like, there's both. The Knight of Swords. Okay, so the feminine really likes the idea of this relationship. There's definitely some issues with the masculine that are, and this, not necessarily with this masculine, but masculine from the past. This is where I see the shadows developing in the relationship on the side of the board here. So while the masculine has this Ten of Swords, the feminine has this Seven of Wands that I'm really seeing as Issues with a father figure or issues with masculine in general, where she feels defensive against men in general. So this could be, from past issues with men. But she really likes the idea of this relationship and really wants to move forward with it. So there's definitely this energy of like this possibility, prospects on the horizon. It feels meant to be. So not only does it seem like a good idea, it also feels meant to be. So that's what's going on there. Let's pull the other cards that I have pre-selected, and maybe we'll clarify with some tarot, because there is this elusive quality to the feminine. All right, so clock. Okay. With serendipity and clock and the Harlequin, I'm really feeling like there's a sense of divine timing in this relationship. So this could be something that she has been waiting for, but then it arrives and she realizes that there's still this healing that needs to be done. And so while she wants to charge forward, there's still a part of herself that she's holding back. How she feels about the masculine. Okay, so her masculine energy comes out as the runner. So she may retreat from his advances, or if he becomes insecure, she'll pull away. And there could be a bit of that dynamic going on. But at the core of it is a fear of intimacy. So it's not that she doesn't care for him, and we'll pull more cards on that, but it's that she feels, scared or not ready. But and this says runner in a codependent relationship. So when this masculine's codependency is triggered, which it would be by, feeling like someone is pulling away because they're triggered, then this leads to the cycle of runner and chaser. And this can happen in big or small ways. It doesn't have to be like in a huge way, like someone actually literally runs. So what connects them is girl talk. It says time with friends, moving on, happily single, living in the moment, having fun. So again, with this ascension and there's this feeling of like deep friendship here. The feminine really feels a deep friendship for this masculine and really feels like they can connect with them and I think I take this as a good sign for the masculine energy because of how the feminine feels about men. It could be good that she feels like she's connecting with the masculine on a feminine level, if that makes sense. And we'll pull more cards about that as well. And for the outcome, so I'm getting that the feminine isn't really entirely sure about the masculine. And I think it's this runner energy. I think she gets overwhelmed by the codependency that the masculine demonstrates. There are some suggestions here of moving on, but that could just be the panic. I'm getting a loop of thoughts and feelings about this. So I'm going to see if I can clarify with some tarot cards. So we clarify, first of all, the clock. Okay. Yeah, there's some deep emotional healing with masculine energy that's needed for the feminine. And I'm kind of getting that she's wondering whether this can happen with this particular masculine. whether this is the right person to do that with. But that can also come from a place of, you know, fear. So deep down, what she's feeling is this deep love, this deep connection to the masculine, and a feeling of family, and a feeling of stability, and a feeling of security. Like she's found it, you know, like she's found the relationship that she's been looking for. What can we know about this runner? Okay, so she's a little bit slower moving than the masculine, and wants to build slower. And it's because of the things that have been triggered in her. So when he gets triggered, he wants to move faster to you know, like hold it tighter and make sure that it doesn't go away. And when she gets triggered, she wants it to move slower. So that's kind of what's going on in this dynamic here. And then for the, let's clarify this date card. What is this date card trying to tell us? Okay. I feel like there's a third energy here, or there's a period of time where, what is going on with this? This wanting to move slow, I just feel like the feminine isn't ready for a deep commitment at this time. I feel like she still wants to stay open. I feel like she is in some ways more interested in spending time with girlfriends kind of thing, or friends. There's almost a player energy coming from the feminine, but not on the page and the Knight of Wands. It's like stop. It's the energy of stopping and starting, stopping and starting. And maybe this isn't even going on the outside because of this mask here. What is happening on the outside is very different from what's going on the inside, potentially. So how can the feminine have more clarity about how she feels? Okay, what I'm getting from this is looking to the relationships that she looked to growing up, or the way that she views relationships, the way that she views a traditional structure of relationships, or the tradition of marriage. A deep dive exploration of these sorts of themes is really going to help the feminine to understand how she feels, whether it is an issue with this, if it's an issue with, let's say, the dynamic that was between the feminine's parents, and that's what is holding her back, or whether it's something about the masculine that's triggering, you know, red flags. Let's get some advice for the masculine. We'll close the masculine, the feminine, and the shared space, and then we'll close the reading. So if you're wanting to know more about this relationship, something more specific to your situation, my information is in the description box below. We can do a full reading for you. We have intelligence and mental beauty. Wisdom is the abstract of the past, but beauty is the promise of the future. This is the advice for the masculine. I have no idea. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I have no idea why that's coming up as advice. If you do, if you're the masculine and you know, cool. Maybe look up clematis and see what that means. And for the feminine, we have pansy. Sweet thoughts. Pray you love, remember. And there are pansies. That's for thoughts. Wow, this is really feminine. If you are the one that's watching, you are a mysterious cat, and your messages are, they're coming in clear for you, I feel like. But other people don't get access to them. And the shared space. We have Sacred Lotus. This is interesting because they're the cards that came out for the first reading, but they're not, this reading is not at all similar. Like I wouldn't say, watch the other reading. Enlightenment, no mud, no lotus. So this really in the shared space speaks to like the growth that's possible in this relationship. I mean, with both of you like potentially triggering each other, there's lots of growth opportunities. There is a lot of love here, and there's a possibility of a deep, lasting connection in both of your energies. But there are things to move through, and I guess really it's deciding whether you want to do that together. I think for the masculine, and what I'm getting now is this like think more, feel less. And for the feminine, feel more, think less. Almost. And then in the shared space, this enlightenment, where each of you recognizes like what's being triggered and having open and honest conversations about that. So that's what I have for you. Please give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment. Let me know how this spoke to you. I'd really love to know. I'd love to know how things are being received. And we'll speak to you soon. Pile number 3. Welcome to your reading, all about relationships. So I'm going to pull the cards for the masculine first, the pre-selected cards. We may clarify with the Pre-Raphaelite Tarot here, or we may not if the messages are super clear. We've had some really meaty readings so far. So let's take a look at what we have here for the masculine. We start with the key. Locked doors can now be opened. This is someone who really compartmentalizes their feelings, their situations, their emotions. So this is someone who may not be very communicative about how they feel, or may not be very forthright with how they feel. There is a sort of cold logician inside of this person, which doesn't mean that they're a cold person or a bad person at all, but there's definitely a side of them that can rationalize and make things that maybe need sensitivity or feeling into something that's like logical or thoughtful. So on the other side of that, they can be very thoughtful. I'm getting a bit of a Gemini vibe from this. And the Sphinx, choose your words carefully. Okay, so this could be part of what keeps them in that way. They want to think before they speak. So this could be really frustrating for someone who wants a quick response, or who needs more of an instant gratification kind of response from their partner. But I think part of it is that when they speak their emotions, they're sort of not very good at communicating their emotions. And so when they speak, if they speak their emotions hastily, they can communicate the wrong things, or they can come off as harsh or unfeeling, which isn't what they want to bring across in a loving relationship. So they could be aware of this in themselves, or we're not quite sure yet. The other thing to mention with the Sphinx is this is someone who the Sphinx speaks in riddles. So I'm getting that this person, there's something to do with coding or like solving puzzles. They may do crosswords. They may enjoy Sudoku, or maybe they code for a living. But there's something to do with coding here. So they may use their mind a lot to decipher things and to problem solve. And so they naturally sort of bring that into the relationship, even if that's not what is needed. And we have the moon. And 7 of Pentacles. Okay, this is someone who has done some work on themselves. They haven't really seen the fruits of their labor in a relationship up to this point. So they may have difficulty with that because they have this inability to communicate their inner world and their emotional worlds. But they do have a deep emotional world, and they have this sort of sensitivity to them that is very fragile. But in this relationship or in this connection with the feminine, the masculine really feels like they can open up to that. They can start to open up to that. And so that may be what they're working toward with the feminine. Let's take a look at the connection from the masculine perspective. So love call. Someone expresses love, a message of love, thinking of you, letting you know. Okay, so the masculine really comes into this relationship expressing things in maybe not a very obvious way or romantic way. Being attentive or just checking in or, fixing something, or like these may not be signs that the feminine is receiving as signs of love and care necessarily. Yeah, I'll pull cards about that later. So how he feels about the feminine. The golden mirror. Okay, the masculine feels like the feminine doesn't even notice him or doesn't care, or that it's one-sided, that it's like unrequited love. And he may send her, and that's why he's not really communicating in an explicit way, the way that he feels. He's concealing these feelings, but remembering that there's deep sensitivity there. So he withholds his feelings so that he doesn't get hurt. But he also sees and recognizes in the feminine that like he wants to express these things to her, but is afraid that she doesn't feel the same way. So what connects them? Okay. So they're both sort of, they're both the helping figures. So there's an aspect of this where the masculine recognizes himself in the feminine. We're going to pull more on that after. And the outcome, we have talking, interested, conversing more, awaited message arrives, text, call, email, hovering. I'm getting the masculine saying, I just want to talk to her more. And it'll be interesting to see how the feminine feels about this, because there's so much hesitation. There's so much being closed off to protect a deep sensitivity. So let's get clarification for a love call. Yeah, the 9 of Cups. Like the masculine's afraid of coming through and being like, you're my dream come true. You're my dream person. I love you so much. Like this is what's going on underneath the surface, and on the surface is like this like vague sort of like the masculine really wants to let the feminine know that he feels this way. I'm really getting that. Let's see more about why does the masculine feel it's one-sided. Whoop. So there's this really beautiful, cute sort of feeling here. He feels it's one-sided, the moon. Because he's never fully expressed how he feels. Because he's kept it concealed. So there's no way to actually know. It's just something maybe the masculine feels he's intuiting. Let's take a look at this, what connects them. Okay, so they have shared values and visions for the future. There is this feeling of security that the masculine feels in the presence of the feminine, and he really feels like he can be, that she ups his game, that she brings him to a new level, like almost bestowing sovereignty in a way. I want another card for that. What connects them? Wow. Okay. Yeah. It's like this feminine makes this is the King of Cups and the King of Pentacles. This feminine has made this masculine want to be a better person, to be stable, to be secure, to be emotionally supportive, to have love and to have connection, and to unlock that door, you know, that deep, sensitive thing that he's been concealing. Let's get more about why he thinks it's one-sided. The Four of Pentacles. Because he's been playing his cards close to his chest. Like he hasn't tested it out. There's no, like, you got to talk to her. How are you going to know? Let's see this outcome. Clarify the outcome. Okay, so we have the Queen of Cups in the outcome. We have the King and the Queen of Cups in the outcome. So it doesn't seem... let's see how the feminine feels. Let's look at the feminine's cards, and then we'll come back to this, because we got to know how she feels before we can get any further. All right, so the feminine is represented by the Knight. Triumph over adversity. So this is someone who is quick thinking, straight talking, has a very direct nature about them. They may almost be intimidating in how powerfully they communicate. And the Black Cat, your luck will soon change. So this feminine is someone who has definitely struggled in the past with how she's perceived. So she may come off as cold or distant or remote or removed. I'm feeling like neither one of these, the masculine or feminine, are very open with how they feel about things. Let's take a look at her tarot cards to see more. We have the High Priestess. So she's highly intuitive. And the Two of Pentacles. This feminine has a lot on her plate. And so because of that, she's just sort of taken a really direct approach to life. Like she doesn't have time for anything silly. She doesn't have time for, to bandy about. She moves instinctively and intellectually through life, but because of that, she may feel a bit removed, or she may come off as removed. And so I'm just imagining these two people together, really not laying their cards on the table, being very, not being very forthcoming with how they feel. And then we had a third card actually for the feminine, which is the wheel. So what this tells me is that there is the feminine really needs some like a divine intervention in order for her to see something. Like she's not going to she's busy. She's not going to pick up on what the masculine is subtly throwing down with his moon cards over here and all his feelings. This is not something that she needs to be shown. She needs to be told. Is what it is, straight up. Okay. So there's a codependent obsession, possession, controlling, has a block, restraint. So I'm really getting here that there is some sort of okay, I'm going to pull more cards to this is how the feminine feels about the masculine. Attraction, flirting, dating, hooking up, temptation, third party interference. Okay, what connects them? Cupid's arrow. Have faith, love is coming, surprise invitation or meeting, hesitation. And the outcome is coffee cup, meeting and conversing, savoring the moment, feeling uplifted, friendship. With these energies, I feel like this is just a stuck situation. The feminine controls the situation too much and doesn't have all the information, so she can't really she doesn't really know what to do with it or how to act. She would like to see a friendship blossom and to savor the moment. She enjoys the company of the masculine. But I'm really feeling like she just doesn't even know what's going on. What a confusing pile. Let's get some clarification for this addiction. Why is this addiction showing up here? Okay. So the feminine is someone who's like kind of nice to everybody. Maybe she has a lot of options or she has a lot of people pursuing her. And so like for her, the masculine secretly kind of crushing on her on the sidelines isn't really going to show up necessarily. Like she is she nurtures a lot of things. She gives in a lot of places. She is in a lot of places. Maybe she's really busy with work, or maybe she has a lot of people that she takes care of. But she's not necessarily going to know that this masculine is different from others. Nine of Pentacles. Yeah, she's very independent. She's very independent and she needs something that would, that feels tempting enough to move out of that space. She may not be someone who's very open to getting a lot of help. She's more of a giver than a taker. Let's clarify this Cupid's arrow. The Fool. Yeah, there's just a new beginning that's needed. So whatever approach, so if the masculine is going to approach the feminine, approaching her with something new, in a new way. So not the same way that he's been doing it, not with like whatever he's been doing. Making it clear. So she feels like he's a choice. Like she feels like there could be something there, but there's not enough to ground that feeling, is what I'm getting. There's not enough to ground it. Yeah, and the Wheel of Fortune shows up again. So there's an aspect of divine timing here, but there's also this feeling of this fixed and stubborn energy. So it's like, if you're not going to message me, I'm not going to message you. If you're not going to come forward with how you feel about me, I'm not going to come forward with the idea that I think that you are, this is a possible relationship, or this is something that could go further. So if you are in a relationship, that this could go further. There's not a lot of strong communication in this relationship, though. I think maybe the feminine is a direct communicator, but not in the emotional way. There's a lot of like emotional secrecy. I want to ask about this King of Cups and King of Pentacles from the feminine perspective. Okay, so the feminine is aware that she has inspired the masculine and the King of Cups and the King of Pentacles, but she's also like, there's no passion. Maybe they have intellectual conversations. Maybe she knows that he has the stability, but there's like no spark, is what I'm getting. Where's the spark? And if there is a spark, or if there isn't a spark, then, she's just going to move on. She's just going to move on to something else. So if you're the masculine, you're watching and you do have passion for this person, I would highly recommend that you reach out and you express that in some way, that you come forward with a new beginning, with a new, fresh perspective. There's a lot of possibility in this connection. There's a lot of, auspicious energy, but it needs grounding. It's just kind of floating at this point. So let's get some advice for the masculine and the feminine in the shared space, and then we'll close the reading. Lilac. First, emotions of love. Love is the magician that pulls man out of his own hats. So this is acknowledging that it's love that has made you, grow if you're the masculine, or that's what the masculine is needing to do, is to acknowledge that he actually loves the feminine. That's going to be the first step, and that's going to be a transformational step. And then leaning into this new beginning. Advice for the feminine, please. Sorry, I keep knocking the camera. Advice for the feminine. Magnolia. Nobility and self-esteem. There is nothing noble in being superior to your fellow men. True nobility lies in being superior to your former self. So that kind of speaks to that fixed energy in the feminine. She kind of like protects herself in this independence, but it could be because of a lack of self-esteem. Or she may not know that he's into her because she doesn't, see herself in that way, or vice versa, that she sees herself as above things. But again, that is always self-protective. And in the shared space, we have Iris. So this is the shared advice for the masculine and feminine. Rainbows and messages. When it rains, look for rainbows. When it's dark, look for stars. This is about keeping like a more positive outlook on the relationship and on the connection, and not seeing disagreements or not seeing these difficult times as pitfalls, but as part of the growth of a relationship. I feel that this is a budding relationship, but if this is already a connection, it's about looking for those things like, the rainbow being a symbol of hope, and same with the stars. The rainbow and stars are both symbols of hope, lighting the way through the darkness. So coming out of these self-protective energies and being able to communicate your feelings and being able to connect on that level. And it starts with admitting how you feel about each other. So that's what I have for you, pile number 3. Thank you so much for joining. Give this video a like, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. I'd love to keep making these for you, and take care.